And you would believe correctly, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
The foundational support that I gained from that room has served me very well in the rest of my life. It truly has. Like, it has served me beyond belief for the rest of my life. Now, you were talking about like scrambles and funk and stuff like that. When Askren hit the scene in let's call it 05-ish, right? When he wrestled Herbert on ESPN, to me, that was the true birthplace of scramble wrestling in this country. Now, were there guys doing it before him? Yes, of course. Cooperman pisses and moans every time I give Askren credit for anything having to do with scramble, because Coop was doing it, but Coop didn't do it on ESPN, right? Like, so, yeah. And Ben did, and Ben took apart Jake Herbert, who looked, he looked like a He-Man figure, and Ben did not. That's putting it politely. And so how much of that, because you were the opposite. You were front headlock, you were swing single, you were the opposite of that.
Yeah.
How much of that did you have to accept as a coach and as an athlete at the same time, right? How much of that did you have to accept, kind of digest, and go, all right, well, this is the way of the sport right now?
Yeah.
And how much did it affect you as a coach and an athlete?
Yeah, I think the scrambling, in the beginning, like you're saying, like in the early 2000s when Askren and I know, Cooperman was big on that as well. But when that started to really take center stage, like this is how wrestling is evolving, is going in this direction, and now you very rarely see a clean takedown. So if you're
I agree.
If your athletes aren't skilled at being able to, if you're a leg attack guy, you have to be very skilled and understand what the funk and the scrambling is going to be about. So I think there's a lot of value in teaching your team and having your team understand, okay, because there's going to be very few clean takedowns, I have to understand what's this guy's next step? What's his next position that he's looking to get to, so I can stay ahead of him and finish and score. So I think there's a ton of value. I mean, we spend a lot of time in different situations just getting guys in on legs and getting them disoriented, because it's not always going to be a simple finishing process. There's going to be a lot of situations where you end up in a bad spot because the guy's just maybe a step ahead of you at that moment. So wrestling's always evolving. It's going to continue to evolve. There's definitely trends that happen, and guys get good at different positions and different techniques. And then you have to be able to try to stay ahead of that curve. And as a coach, if you're saying, well, we're not going to do any funk, we're not going to teach you, well, you're going to lose, because
because you're stubborn. Because you're a stubborn ass, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So, all right. So how do you, being as milk and steak and potatoes as you are when it comes to wrestling technique, how do you get how often do you get your guys into positions where they're forced to scramble? How often?
Almost every day. I'd say daily, because of the way wrestling is now. Guys they're willing to sacrifice their bodies to put themselves in crazy scenarios to get out of situations. And some of these situations are cutthroat. So as a coach, you have to be careful where you're dropping your ego down a little bit and understanding that everybody's joints have limitations, because, injuries will happen in these crazy situations. But I think that you need to be in there constantly, understanding how to finish a shin wizard, how to finish on the edge of the mat, how to finish when guys are diving through,